Welcome to the Humboldt Jungle, everyone. Make some noise. How we feeling tonight? Hell yeah, dude. That song totally fits my vibe. Thank you for being here, everyone. This is great, dude. Thank you for being here. Well, make some noise if this is your first time at the Humboldt Jungle before. Love it. Thank you. Welcome. We already went through the house rules, so yeah, just sit back, have fun. I'm excited. The last time I did a show with the Lunatics, I offered cocaine to Lois from Malcolm in the Middle. Was that? She was at the show. I wasn't. She said no. I didn't. I'm not making this up. So we did a show, and I was telling a joke about cocaine, and she's a woman of a certain age, and she was laughing, and I was like, you remember like the '80s, like the fun cocaine years or whatever. So then after the show, we were talking, and she was telling me like all these things about like, oh, ATMs were such a game changer for buying cocaine. She was just telling me about coke in the '80s, and I was like, this is so great. And the whole time I'm like, she looks really familiar. And then I found out it was Lois from Malcolm in the Middle. So, are you here? That'd be so awkward. She'd be really mad, I think, if she was here. But no, speaking of famous people, I've noticed a trend. I think all of us have noticed this trend where someone gets really famous, and then we find out about some like kind of not cool things from their past. Like Mark Wahlberg, he gets super famous, and then we all found out that he like committed a hate crime. He like blinded a Vietnamese guy. John Hamm got really famous. Everyone found out he was involved in like a really messed up college hazing scandal. There's been a lot of pictures of like politicians in blackface, all this stuff. And as someone who makes hundreds of dollars a year performing comedy, I'm just really worried about what could come out about me to topple this unbelievable career of mine. The main one that I want to get out ahead of, that I want to just address now, I'm not proud of this. When I was in junior high, the mall in my hometown, they opened an Apple store. And my friends and I, other junior high aged boys, we would all go to the Apple store and pull up gay porn on all the computers. And then we would turn off the monitors and leave. And then older people would be like, this computer doesn't work. And a genius would turn it on, and they'd see two men making love to one another. And I just want to apologize to everyone I affected with my actions, especially old people buying graduation presents for their kids. I want to be clear, because this could sound like, oh yeah, like a handful of times, at least 45 times we went there. It got to the point where the staff there, like when we would walk in, they'd start following us around. Imagine that staff meeting, Just some nerd who looks like Jason Mraz, like, hey everyone, next month the iPod video is coming out, so we're going to need all hands on deck for that. Also, roaming packs of teenage boys are still pulling up gay porn on all of our computers. It was really intense, too, like, we were like 13, 12 years old. Like, we were kids. And if we were like alone on a computer, like the most aggressive thing any of us would have looked up would be like, oh, Halle Berry boobs. But then like in public at an Apple store, we were like, oh, pull up butt fucking cum fiesta. Pull up. That's a good one. It was funny. We would do it like as a group of friends, but one time I was at the Gap with my family, like buying slacks, and I was like, I gotta pop by the Apple store real quick. Gotta clock in for a quick shift. So, does anyone make some noise if you work from home? Cool. The rest of you, thank you for your service. Those of us who work from home, guys, we're living in the golden age of not doing your job. That's like, I don't make a lot of money, but for how much work I do, I'm a billionaire. So I do this thing where I get remote sales jobs, and I'm like, I go through the interview, and if you've never interviewed for a sales job before, it's really easy because the people interviewing you are like sales bros. So they're like, what are your expectations for the role? And I'm like, I expect to crush. They're like, this guy's good. This is a true story. One time in an interview, I was interviewing for a job, and the guy said, "Give me one reason I shouldn't hire you." And I was quiet for a second, then I went, "Can't think of one." And he was like, "Man, that's really good." It's so dumb. So I do this thing where I get hired to do a sales job, and they hire me, and they pay me a base salary, and then I just don't do anything, and I just wait for them to fire me. And my current record is 2.5 years of, like, don't get me wrong, I like get on sales calls, and I'm like, yeah, here's the software, and I walk through the whole thing, and at the end of the call, I'll be like, okay, so I'm gonna put together a proposal, I'm gonna send that to you, I'll send a calendar invite for a follow-up call, I'm gonna loop in some stakeholders on my end, you do the same, and walk through a follow-up demo in a couple weeks, sound good? And then I don't do any of those things, I just end the call. Just bear with me on this part. I don't make a lot of money. I make enough where if I were to tell you, it would make the joke less funny. And it's for the work I do and the money I'm paid, it makes ordering Uber Eats like the most evil thing in the world. To just like sit on my ass and do nothing all day and then take that money and be like, I want an immigrant to bring me my food. To me. That's why if they offered a thing in Uber Eats where they're like, for $5 extra, a old white guy can bring you your food, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna pay for that. All right, you hated that. That's fine. I can't say the word immigrant while wearing this shirt. I understand. That's bad. I always like when a joke bombs and I just hear Brian laughing in the back. That's always fun. I was a weird kid. I used to do this thing when I was a kid where, sorry to be gross, but anytime I had to poo, I would hold it as long as I could, and then I would shit my pants. Pretty clever kid. Bit of a thinker. But the thing that's, I think we could all agree, the worst thing about shitting your pants as a child, if you're still doing it, get it together. But like when you're a kid and you shit your pants, you have to like loop people in. You know, you can't be like, I gotta take a call real quick. Like, excuse yourself. You gotta go tell your mom. And I got tired of it. I couldn't do it anymore. Not tired enough to stop shitting my pants, but I got to a point where I was like, I can't handle the shame anymore. So one time I pooped my pants, and it was my favorite Batman underwear. And I took the Batman underwear and I hid it in my room. And then that night, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. My dad was out of town on business. My mom was asleep. My siblings were asleep. So I was like, all right, let's do this. And I took my Batman underwear, and I went to the garage and I grabbed a shovel. And then I went into the backyard, and I dug a hole, and I buried my shitty Batman underwear. And I was like, the perfect crime. Like, I'm gonna do this with all of my problems forever. And so I was done, and I filled the hole up, and I turn around to start walking inside. It's like 3:30 in the morning at this point. And as I'm walking back inside, my dad pulls into the driveway, returning from his business trip. And his version of the story is pretty funny because he's like, yeah, it was 3:30 in the morning, and I parked the car, and I get out, and the first thing I see is my son wearing footy pajamas, just sweaty and dirty and holding a shovel. And he was like, yeah, that was the first time I ever looked at you and was like, this kid's got his own stuff going on. This kid's got a whole life I don't know about. I thought this kid just liked the Power Rangers. Turns out he's committing crimes. And so I was like really upset. I started crying. He was like, what are you doing? He wasn't mad. He was just like, buddy, what are you doing out here? And I was like, I pooped my pants and buried my underwear. And he was like, so you didn't kill an animal? Because that's kind of a huge red flag with little white boys. It's kind of an issue in our community. So I quit drinking like 2 months ago, gave up the sauce, and yeah, that's fine. Thank you, one person clapping. Here's how I know it was a good idea to get sober, is when I told my friends I wasn't drinking anymore, none of them asked why. You know, if one of your best friends was like, "Hey, I'm not drinking anymore," you couldn't help but be like, "Oh, like what made you decide to do that?" I told all my friends like, "Hey, I'm not drinking anymore." They're like, "Yeah, it's probably a good call." I've spent time with you. I get it. I saw you shotgun a twisted tea before officiating a wedding, so probably the right move. I quit drinking because I found out after the fact I have this chemical thing where it affects like 1 in 12 men, where every time I got drunk, I would talk about high school football. It's called Glory Days syndrome, and it's devastating. And one of the tough things is like through comedy, I'm lucky. I've gotten to meet a bunch of pro athletes, and it's really cool. But like when I've met a professional baseball player, I'm like, oh my god, so nice to meet you, big fan. And I've met a basketball player, and I'm like, oh my god, so nice to meet you, I'm a big fan. And then I've met football players, and I'm like, yeah, I play a little ball in my day too. I met Jason Kelsey, Taylor Swift's future brother-in-law, and he's a first ballot Hall of Fame center for the Eagles. And I met him drunk, and I was like, I just started stretching. I was like, yeah, I played center in 5th grade, so I get it. It was really awkward. He said, oh, when did you start playing football? And I was drunk, and I was like, oh, 5th grade, so September 2001. It was quiet for a little bit, and he was like, yeah. And like you could tell he was like, you don't have to finish this thought. And I was just like, a couple weeks before 9/11. And he was like, all right, well, it's good meeting you, dude. Like, another problem with my drinking was, I would get too drunk pretty frequently, but every time I went to a wedding, I would black out aggressively. And that's, someone's got to do it. But one time I was at a wedding. You're welcome for my service. I was the guy at the brunch the next morning where people were like, glad I'm not him. The worst was one time I went to a wedding and I completely blacked out, by far the drunkest person there, which, again, someone has to do it, but I was bartending that wedding. I was working. And I was kind of a nuisance. Like, women my mother's age were coming up like, oh, can I get a Chardonnay with a couple ice cubes? And I was like, 4 shots of Fireball? You got it. I got so drunk I gave a toast. Have you ever been to a wedding where the bartender gives a toast? It was like the father of the groom, mother of the bride, maid of honor, best man, and then Joe. Like it was, and every toast was like to the bride and groom, to the bride and groom, to the bride and groom, and then I went up like, dude, give it up for the DJ. Like this is. And I drank for another 7 years. I've been doing mushrooms instead now because God forbid I just be a person. And mushrooms are funny because like I only want to do them with my dumb friends now. Doing mushrooms with your smart friends, it's always like a competition to see who could say the most profound thing. I have no interest in that, I was on mushrooms one time and my friend Danny grabbed a glass of water and was just like, you ever think about I was like, please stop. It's just the worst, people. It's like mushrooms are like, oh, music makes me feel good. And then someone's like, yeah, do you ever think about the federal government? It's like, leave me alone. My friend Danny picked up the glass of water and was like, do you ever think about the fact that at one point in our lives, this glass of water could be considered a luxury? I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And he was like, no, think about it. Like, what if one day the president was like, get all the drinkable water you can. It's going to have to last you the rest of your life. What would you do if the water wars started tomorrow? And I was like, probably murder you. I'd probably take my last drinkable water and drown you in it. You got to do it with dumb people. I have a friend named Sully. Only dumb people are named Sully. And we were on mushrooms one time, and we were like camping in the woods. And out of nowhere, he was just like, dude, you ever think about how big whales are? This is what I want to talk about. Like, but the thing is, he's stupid, so he was like confrontational about it. It wasn't like, man, you ever think about how big whales are? I read a book. Like, no, he was like, dude, you ever think about how big whales are? You ever seen a blue whale before? You ever fucking seen a blue whale with your eye? No, neither have you. Like, You got a DUI on a Lime scooter. You've never left the Midwest, Danny. I took special ed classes growing up. I don't know how to transition. I took special ed class. The first special ed class I ever took was a math class. And I went to like a Catholic school where they didn't like give a shit about our feelings. So they broke us up into 3 groups for math, and they just called it high math, medium math, and low math. I was in low math. And to give you an idea of the curriculum, at one point high math was learning algebra, medium math was learning pre-algebra, and me and my friends in low math were counting beans. That's how I learned math. Now I do comedy in my friend's basement, so... I feel bad for our teacher, you know, if you could call her that. The lady in the room, you know, because the teacher for high math was like, hey, everyone, be sure to bring in your TI-83 calculator. Teacher for low math was like, guys, they gotta be dry beans. These Bush's baked beans are making a fucking mess, you guys. All right, I'm gonna do it. Sorry. Sorry in advance. At one point, I'll never forget this. One day I was adding 2 beans plus 4 beans to get 6 beans. This was our midterm. And I was in the lab crunching some numbers when our teacher was like, hey guys, it's been brought to our attention that calling this low math is bad for your self-esteem. So high math is now level 1 math. Medium math is now level 2 math. And you guys are in level 3 math. And we were like, that's incredible. 3 beans is way more than 1 bean, so. Clearly the superior course. And we got really cocky. We started bullying everyone else, which like really flipped the school upside down for a little bit. Kind of an inmates running the asylum situation. So we were making fun of everyone. We were like, oh yeah, level 3, yeah, we're going Mach 3. I'm calling it code 3. And then one day everyone started calling us level 3-tards. And here's the thing. 2024, not a cool word to say. I completely agree with you. But this was like 2004. So like the teachers were like, damn, that's pretty funny. That's... All right, well, that's going to do it for me. Are you guys having fun? Cool. Your first comic tonight, a friend of the room, one of our best buds. You know him, you love him. Start clapping right now for Brian LaRoe, everybody.
Let's get that chant going again. We did that the other night. Come on. You want to start it? I'm just kidding. We don't have to do it. That actually made me feel uncomfortable the last time we tried. What are you going to do? How you guys doing? You guys doing fine? Okay, there's like a fan going on back here, I guess. I don't know. I thought there was something else. I'm sorry. I'm already freaking out. I think I know almost 90% of this. Feels like a birthday party, kind of. Yeah, it's kind of intimidating. It's kind of like I realized today I was thinking about how I actually don't like jungles. You know, we're at the Humboldt. I don't really like them. You know, I love the idea of them, and I will like stand against any politicians trying to destroy the jungles, but you know, I would never visit a jungle, you know. And I have an identical stance on gay nightclubs as well, so. I just don't have the gear, you know what I mean? No. I don't know. No? Okay, whatever. I don't really give a shit. I love animals. I like animals. I hate sharks, though. You know, do you guys like sharks? Yeah. Some of you guys, whatever. I don't give a shit. The only great white shark that I support is Mark Cuban. That's that's a good man, you know. I love dogs, but I think dogs get too much credit. Right? Yeah, thank you. I think dogs get too much credit. People always say, like, why can't people be more like dogs? You know? I heard, like, a girl that I, like, had, like, a huge crush on say that to me one time while we were watching a puppy eat rocks in the backyard. And I was just like, is that what you want? Like, I'll eat the rocks, you know? Like, just love me, you know? Please. I don't care. I don't know. Whatever. You guys do safe sex? Any of you guys? Okie dokie. I don't know. I didn't know much about safe sex growing up. I went to a Catholic school, you know. They were just like, you know, they didn't teach us about like HIV, you know. They're like, you know, do you mean get like cancer for sinners, you know? Like that's cuz you're good luck getting into heaven with that, you know. That's kind of all I learned about safe sex. I think IUDs are cool though. I'm learning about those, you know. IUDs kind of remind me of when we used to mod our Xbox controllers back in the day to be better at Call of Duty, you know? Like, I think they're cool. But I didn't really know much about them, you know? And I took out a condom one time, like the first time I met a girl who had an IUD, and I took it out, and she was just like, it's fine, I have an IUD, you know? She kind of seemed, like, weird about it, though, at first. But so I kind of have dyslexia, you know? And so when she was just like, I have an IUD, I was like, well, so does my dad, you know, like, just give you a ride home. It's not like that big of a deal. Don't know why we're making a big deal about it, you know. I don't know. I became a vegetarian recently, well, for like a year now, and I haven't lost any weight at all, which I think people are getting suspicious at this point. My mom hugged me recently, and she was just like, smelled my shoulder, just like, is that barbecue sauce on your breath? You know, like, I don't know. So it's kind of funny. Like when I first started going vegetarian, people would ask me, they'd be like, do you still eat pussy? Which is like, you know, that's a cool thing to ask somebody, right? Like, that's a cool thing. But the answer has not changed with that one. Still no, you know. I'm just kidding. No. I do eat pussy, but I think the people who like love it are kind of creepy still, you know, like the people who are like, I fucking love that stuff, you know. I see eating pussy like it's kind of like jury duty, you know, like it's not all that fun, and if you don't do it, you're like an enemy of the state afterwards, you know, like. Yeah, like, but yeah, I've been saying that to people, and they like afterwards I'll get off stage and they'll be like, "Fuck you, you don't fucking like eating pussy." I'm like, dude, I'm a patriot. Like I do the dance, like you know. I don't know. I feel like eating pussy is the least safe of the sex, to be honest with you. You know, I feel like I need like a headlamp and like a helmet every time I go down there. All right. I'm sorry, yeah. I don't know. I do imagine that, I imagine that sucking dick is like a similar thing. I try not to imagine stuff like that. You know? I try not to, because some people, they think I'm wrestling with my sexuality. And to those people, I will say it's more of a pillow fight at this point. What are you gonna do? I'm losing that pillow fight. Yeah, who cares? Who cares? Yeah, dude. None of my family doesn't take me seriously. When I said I was like a vegetarian, all of my aunts were like, "Who's the girl?" You know, like. And all of my uncles are like, "We knew you were a vegetarian," you know. Yeah, I don't know. What are you gonna do? Yeah. This is all. I'm trying to do a bunch of new stuff because I'm pretty sure everybody here knows me. So but so here's the thing. So that's why I keep looking at my phone. And I'm getting insecure about that. Which I hate, you know. I hate that I'm saying this right now because I feel like you guys liked me up until 10 seconds ago. I'm an insecure guy. Like I realized recently that being insecure is the only thing that I'm actually secure with myself about. You know, I'm just like, fuck you. Unless you want to be best friends, you know? Like, suck my dick, but do not look at my body. You know? I don't know. Yeah, I got a dumb family. So my family, they kind of get weird about how I haven't really brought anybody back home for like the holidays. And this Thanksgiving, one of my older cousins, she brought a guy home who had an Insane Clown Posse ankle tattoo, which I find to be a weird place for the Insane Clown Posse tattoo, but whatever. But he also, the thing that was a little less redeemable was he had a knitted beanie cap on that just said the word jizz on it. My grandma's still alive, you know, like she can't really read very well, so she probably might have thought it was jazz or something, you know, but maybe she thought it was the other thing. She probably likes both, but, you know, I don't know. We just had to act like that was fine, which I kind of thought he was, you know, whatever. I'm thinking about going on one of the dating apps and just finding the most insane person that I can find and bringing her back, or them, you know, to Thanksgiving. Just like introducing to my uncles, just being like, what's up? This is Ashley. Her two favorite things are collecting bones and making herself bleed, you know? Also, she has a DUI, which means she can't get pregnant. Whoa! That was stupid. Yeah. This is when I run out of new material, and I'm just gonna. If you haven't seen me before, you probably are a little. You think I have a weird voice, I assume, right? Yes. That was a chuckle of a that was a yes persuasion of this, you know. I don't know. Yeah, thank you. I don't know. My entire family, we don't sound like this, you know. Like we're not like the Keebler elves, right? Like we're not all making cookies and trees when you're not looking. But my little cousin, she's kind of a mean lady, and she interrupted me when I was talking during dinner one time, and she was just like, "Hey, Brian, you kind of sound like a parrot taught you how to talk." And it caught me so off guard, I was just like, what? You know, like, just like, whatever, bitch, pass the crackers, you know? Like, I don't need this. Yeah, I had to swear off dirty talk years ago. That was just something, I knew that before I was even of sexual maturity. I know, God did not design my voice to say, call me daddy. That's just something, that's for sure, right? If there is a God, God designed my voice to say okie dokie. That's kind of an okie dokie guy. Yeah, okay, that's been enough of me. You guys, make some noise for your voluptuous host, Joe Ames.
Brian LaRoe. What are you doing here, dude? Brian LaRoe, everyone. I stopped doing it, but anytime I would introduce Brian on a show, I would always go, your next comic is one of the premier LGBTQ comics in Chicago. And then every time Brian would have to walk up and be like, yeah, I'm not gay. I think you're winning the pillow fight, Brian. So one more time for Brian LaRoe, everyone. So funny. We're going to keep it in the family with this next one. You know him, you love him. Start clapping right now for Maxwell Schenker, everybody.
Guys, give it up for Joe one more time. Give it up for Brian. When Brian said he was wrestling with his sexuality or pillow fighting, all of his best friends in the back just started snickering and being like, wrestling, right? We have a prop bet on... No, I don't know. I turned 31 a few weeks ago. Give it up for me. Thank you. I really accomplished a lot. I just didn't die for 31 years. It's very hard. I've been thinking back about my life. I think I only have one regret, really, and it's that I heard the song Fat Lip by Sum 41 maybe a few years too early. You guys know this song? It starts off just like no 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 no. Just like starts off whiny, and the chorus goes, "I don't want to be another victim of conformity." And so when I was 12, I heard that song for the first time, and I was like, "Hell yeah, dude! Working hard is gay." It's like, besides, I'm gonna be the first Jewish professional skateboarder and snowboarder. That's right, a multi-hyphenate. So I don't even need anything. And now that I'm in my 30s, I'm starting to think that the people who conformed aren't victims. They seem to be having a pretty good time. You know who's not having a good time? Me. The victim of nonconformity. It turns out when you drop out of film school 3 times in 2 years that it doesn't set you up on a path of success. Like, I have a job and I like it because I have it. That is literally the only thing I like about it. I haven't always been employed. Around this time last year, I got fired. Dude, get this. I was working a marketing gig, and in 6.5 months, I didn't market a single thing. And they fucking fired me over that, dude. Fucking Joe Biden's America. Am I right? What is this country turning into? Can't even commit time theft anymore. You guys like time theft? Big time thieves? Yeah, hell yeah. Everyone I've done coke with for 24 hours just applauded. It's a cool thing about knowing half the crowd. Yeah, if you don't know what time theft is, it means you're clocked in and not doing your job, which I think means just being a pretty chill dude. Just vibing 40 hours a week. Trying to find a new gig right now. It's not going well, probably because I refer to day jobs as gigs. I think that shows how serious I take my employment. Then I'm like really bad at interviews. Like I had an interview a few weeks ago, and I realized like an hour before that I was out of coffee. But I was like, well, it's pre-workout. That's also caffeine. That's pretty much the same thing. That is not the same thing. Coffee and pre-workout are totally different monsters. Like if you like compared them on a weed scale, like coffee is like a sativa dominant hybrid. And pre-workout is like injecting crystal meth into your neck. So I was sitting there twitching with a blue mouth. It's a blue raspberry pre-workout. It's pretty good. It's very tasty. The man came on the screen, and we immediately recognized each other because he's the guy that fired me from that last job. So he went, so why'd you leave Salesforce? And I was like, layoffs, you know? And he goes, that is certainly a way to phrase it. And then we had an hour left of the interview. It's actually coming up on a 3-year anniversary of one of my silliest interviews. I interview a lot. I get a job, and I'm constantly looking for the next one. No, so it's coming up. It was like March 2021. This one was actually kind of going well. It's like my Jordan flu game. Like I was like answering every question well. I was making the recruiter laugh. And she's like, you know what? You're doing wonderful. Like, we're gonna pass you on. Like, we're gonna skip this next round, push you up 2 rounds. And she went, by the way, we don't do background checks. And I was like, well, I'm already batting 1,000. What's one more joke? I was also on mushrooms. I was like, what's one more joke? So I was so she said, we don't do background checks. And I was like, sick. You won't know where I was January 6th. It's like, there's no way she would have known I was watching it the way I just watched the Super Bowl. Like, God, this would be so much better if my team was there. If we would have just kicked the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down, I'd be there celebrating with my boys. Okay. Forgot where I was for a minute, blacked out. No, so it was tangible it was quiet for like a tangible amount of time. And she went, you'll be hearing from us. And Humboldt Jungle, it's been 3 years. I have not heard from us, but I'll be damned if I'm not reading that company's website every day. Oh, man. I do think I know what's kind of my biggest obstacle in getting these gigs is that whenever they ask, what are you looking for in a manager, my answer is always somebody older than me. They'd be like, do you want to expand on that at all? And I'd be like, yes, somebody at least 1 calendar year older than me, because I play by playground rules, all right? So if you're not older than me, you're not in charge. Like that guy who fired me and I were born one day apart. That was not a manager. That was just a man I lied to 5 days a week. I don't know. My company I work at's pretty small. When I started, I was like, I'm not going to let anyone know that I do stand-up comedy. And so now they all know I do stand-up comedy. There's only so many ways to explain why you're hungover every day. And this one woman I work with, we have a weekly call, and she's constantly pitching me jokes. You guys want to hear the joke she pitched me on Friday? It's like more of a premise. So she's from South Carolina. She went, Max got the perfect joke for you. You should get up there, and you should talk about menopause. People be laughing, rolling in the aisles. I was like, Lynn, two things. One, aisles, what kind of shows do you think I'm doing? And also, what do you want me to say about menopause? That I think it's immoral and I don't want my tax dollars going towards it? Like, keep politics out of the workplace. Listen, you have your right to choose, and I have my right to tell you to shut the fuck up. Oh, boy, that's fun. I don't know. I'm coming to the realization, much like Joe, that I need to dial it back on the partying, especially because the amount of parties I go to versus the amount of partying I do is not a 1-to-1 ratio. It is, in fact, extremely skewed. Unless you count hanging out with 3 dudes in my living room till the sun comes up, then I party 3-4 times a week. Go to parties 3-4 times a week. But I had this realization a few weeks back when I texted my Coke dealer, happy birthday. I wasn't even buying drugs. I just wanted to let him know how good of a friend he's been over the years. I don't know, man. I'm going to go see The Dead at the Sphere in May. Hell yeah, dude. I'm going to die. Not even from drugs. I'm just going to get so stoked that I pass away. Paramedics will call my parents. It'll be like Mr. and Mrs. and Miss Shanker. They're divorced. Mr. and Mrs. and Miss Shanker, your son, Maxwell, has Stokeverdosed. And they'll be like, is that a drug I don't know about? They're like, no, it's actually way more embarrassing. He wooed so much his heart gave out. Yes, he was watching men in their 80s play music, and he's the one who died of heart failure. Oh boy, I'm going with my girlfriend and some friends. My girlfriend's awesome, dude. She rips. It is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, and I don't know how to handle it. Like, she tells me she loves me, but when we get drunk, she has yet to punch me in the face, so I don't know if she's being truthful. We did lead pretty different lives before we got together. Like, our college experiences were pretty different. Like, in college, she majored in marketing, and I would take ecstasy and hug speakers at raves. She studied abroad in Spain. I went to 8 music festivals in 1 month. Even now, we have differences. Like, I have $12,000 of credit card debt, and she does not know that. She has no idea. She just thinks I'm not sold on the whole credit card thing. I'm going to be honest, that is an old joke. I'm no longer in credit card debt. Yeah, cut them up and threw them away. Sucks to suck, Chase. Catch me if you can, Capital One. You snooze, you lose, other Capital One. All right, you guys have been great. I've been Max. Thank you much.
Max Shanker, everybody. Let him hear it. Max was talking about his Coke dealer. One time I saw my Coke dealer, and he gave me cocaine. And then he went, hey, man, you look like you've gained some weight. Which, like, yeah, pretty rude, but also brilliant salesman. That's a Coke dealer being like, you look fat. That's like a bartender being like, you haven't replied to your ex's Instagram story in a while. You should do that. Also, Max is seeing The Dead at the Sphere. in May. I'm seeing Fish there in April. Yeah, suck it, Max. I'm kind of, if you don't know what the Sphere is, you all know what the Sphere is. So I'm kind of worried that like I'll see my favorite band in the greatest music venue ever created, and then every like sunset after that, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's okay, it's it's fine. But yeah, are you guys ready for your final comedian of the night? All right, I'm gonna bring him up here, but I think we could do a little bit better than that. So I'm gonna ask one more time. Are you ready for your final comedian of the night? We're keeping it in the family. You know him, you love him. Pat Bolduc, everybody.
Everybody. And all the comedians that you saw, everybody crushed tonight. Which I do not like, because I do not like any of them personally. I think they're all pretty bad dudes. But I hope you guys don't mind if I sling some jokes for you here tonight. I'm bringing a little something different to the stage. So just sit back, relax, and be entertained. Because I'm going to do some yo-yo tricks and tell some jokes. So the other day I'm walking my dog, and I'm like, I'm walking my dog, and I'm like, sorry. So just, cut the live stream for just a second if you don't mind. Walking my dog. Walking my dog. I'm sitting there going, what am I, Rick Moranis? Very much. See, that joke did not make sense. I like to just throw out some feelers, and I think just maybe saying Rick Moranis is funny. What a tangled web we weave here, folks. I'm not making much money off the yo-yo stuff. I do have a day job. I don't make much money a day. I have different financial goals than other people. That's what I've realized. Like I was speaking to my father recently, and he was like, "Pat, are you even thinking about having kids?" And I was like, "I'm thinking about buying a snake. That's kind of where I'm at. Just gonna get a reptile, work my way up here, and yeah. I looked it up. I cannot afford a snake. It's too expensive. Because my friend's having like an actual real baby, and he's freaking out. He's like, it's gonna be so expensive. I'm like, I know, dude. It's probably like 2.5 snakes, right? Is it something like that? Is it fucking 12 snakes these days? My God. Thanks, Jen Psaki. Is she the president? No, she's. My bank does a very annoying thing. Anytime my checking account falls below $10, that was actually $5, but when it falls below $10, I was in the same bean classes as Joe, but I was like, how many of these fucking things till we make a burrito? That's where my mind's at. I love those fucking things. I don't care. Maybe it's not politically correct, but I love fucking burritos. But anytime my checking account falls below $10, I get an email from my bank that says, you're in low cash mode, which I think that's how you know my bank. That sucks, right? That's not a thing a bank is supposed to say to anybody. Nobody's like, what are your financial goals? And you're like, I'm trying to pull out of low cash mode. You know what I mean? Trying to cobble together $11 so that I can once again be in high cash mode. It's just fucking me and Elon Musk up there in high cash mode. He's got 300 billion. I got 12, but is that what Elon's got? Does he have 300 bill? I don't know. I hear that number and I'm like, damn, that's a lot of snakes. Holy shit. That's a zoo. I feel like my parents are disappointed in me. I mean, look at that fucking set list. They haven't seen the yo-yo stuff, so they don't know my real passion. But like, my mom is very liberal, and she loves all the people in Biden administration. She was telling me, she's like, Pat, did you realize that Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, when he was 29 years old, he became the first openly gay mayor of South Bend, Indiana, which is amazing. But I'm like 33 right now, and I'm not even gay yet. What the hell am I doing with my life? It's like, at this rate, I'm not going to become a mayor. It sucks. My parents are, every Thanksgiving, they're disappointed. They're like, we thought you'd be gay by now. But it's nice that it's been very nice out, surprisingly. I get very depressed in the winter. That's why this one's been good. Last winter, I was so depressed that when I would pull up my phone, my Face ID wouldn't recognize me. Yeah. Unless I had a gun in my mouth, which is like, damn, you know what I mean? I'm at 7-Eleven trying to use Apple Pay, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot my gun. What do I... Can I snag your guy's gun? Like, is that... They got one sometimes, and... You know, I don't have a big penis, so it's extra, you know, it kind of compounds. That's not really transition, but all I'll say is I feel like if you have a big penis and you kill yourself, it's extra sad. It is. You're like, damn, that guy had his whole dick ahead of him, right? I mean, he died too long. I think that's... I'm uncircumcised, and I'm fine with it. I don't care anymore. Is anybody else in the group? Okay, well... All right. There's always one smart aleck. It's like, yes, my pussy has not been circumcised, even though, well, whatever, we're not going to go there. But we're going to steer right out of there like I'm Jeff Gordon, not his father. Was it his dad? No, Dale Earnhardt. Shit. All right, never mind. Sorry. I'm a liberal elite. I don't know NASCAR stuff, but... oh, yeah, liberal elite. I'm uncircumcised, right. Well, I asked my mom recently. I was like, at weird conversation for Thanksgiving dinner, but I was like, why the hell am I not circumcised? And she said, well, when you were born, we did the research, and she said there was just no medical benefit at that point. Which I was like, all right, well, you know, thanks. Thanks for doing the research, Mom. You know, didn't really help me in the locker room at all, you know. It's just not a good comeback if somebody's like, your dick looks like an anteater. You can't be like, well, there's actually no medical benefit, so... kind of the dick my mom wanted me to have, okay? She did the research, you know, because we don't get a lot of representation in popular culture on uncircumcised people. You never hear the word uncircumcised come up at a spelling bee? Have you? No, because it would be weird. It would be weird. They'd be like, could you use it in a sentence? And they'd be like, your dick is gross. That's the sentence. That's the only one. Only one we're going to use it in at this juncture. Sure. I don't have a girlfriend or anything like that. I forgot about Valentine's Day entirely. I remembered about it like 5 days later. So I sent my mom some flowers for Black History Month. You know, I decided, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with forgetting Valentine's Day and remembering Black History Month. You know, if you forget Valentine's Day, it's whatever. If you forget all of Black History Month, you're trying. You know, I mean, you're looking to forget. Nobody wakes up in March and it's like, fuck, I forgot Black History Month again. Shit. They're like, what did you think all the commercials were for? They're like, I don't know, Black Valentine's Day? I'm not sure. Something? Alrighty. Valentine's Day. I like, Black History Month is the best time to watch Fox News. Because it is. They're just in a frenzy the entire time. They always get one black dude to be like, fuck this month. And they're like, see? Come on, right? Everyone agrees. They'll have a dude. I saw they had a dude on who was like making some speech, and he's like, "Oh, people can wear a Black Lives Matter T-shirt. How come I can't wear a White Lives Matter T-shirt?" And it's like there doesn't need to be a White Lives Matter T-shirt because we already have those Life is Good T-shirts. You know what I mean? That's pretty much. It's the same fucking thing, right? Little dude camping. That's like, hey, I voted for Trump because I got a pool. That's why. I like pools. So I vote. He's had a long history. Remember the P tape? People thought that was going to bring him down. Trump got peed. When I first heard that there was maybe a video of Trump getting peed on by a sex worker, I was like, don't give me a reason to like this guy, okay? That is not... Stop telling me cool shit about Trump. If he's into rap battles, I'm voting for him. I don't know where we go from here. This is not... My neighbor is kind of a political... I've never actually spoken to him, but he has a lot of signs on his front lawn. He's a sign guy. He's got a sign on his front lawn that says, you want to know my stance on gun control? Why don't you break in and find out? That's the most intense stance you can take on any issue. And nobody else is like, hey, you want to know my stance on abortion? Why don't you come fuck me and find out? That's not a sign. That's not a sign. There's one thing when I was trying to write more on this joke. There's MAGA rappers. There's like people, MAGA. Oh, thank you. Not doing that one. All right. I saw the light, and I was like, yeah, let's start a very poorly thought out joke about MAGA. All right. I got arrested on ecstasy. That's what I meant to tell. The last time I was arrested, I was on ecstasy, and it was weird because the cop was like, you have the right to remain silent. And I was like, that's not in the cards, okay? What's your name? Where are you from, dude? But I got arrested in like Logan Square, so it was like a hipster jail. You know what I mean? It was like so nice. All the guards were like, "We're fucking so sorry, dude. We support fucking prison abolition and stuff like that." You know, there was snacks. They were like, "Yo, don't drop the soap because it's a Frangelico chive butter eucalyptus combo and cost like $28 for one bar of that shit." So it was for a fight years ago. I got into a fight and got arrested, and I just watch fights on YouTube a lot. That's how I don't make sure I don't get arrested anymore. And so I've become kind of a aficionado of online fight. One thing I've noticed when guys get in each other's faces right before a big fight, they like to tell each other that they're grown-ass men. Big pre-fight line, a guy will get in another dude's face, and he's like, "You don't play with me, okay? I am a grown-ass man," which is freaky. I think it'd be scarier if somebody got right in your face and they were like, "I'm a little boy, okay? You do play with me, actually. Goo goo gaga, motherfucker. This fight's about to end in 2 hits. You hit me, and then you hitting on my mom, okay? That's... Susan is single and ready to Pringle, okay? My mom likes Pringles, so I threw that in there for her, but no. I'm an intellect. I would never get into a fight. I'm actually very smart. I just joined a book club. Thank you. Thank you. We burn them. We don't read them, but you know what I mean? It's, people are like, "Have you read The Great Gatsby?" I'm like, lit it on fire last night, actually. I was like, F. Scott Fitzgerald. I don't like that dude at all. I like other modernist writers, such as... All right. I'm going to get out of here on this one. Did anybody watch the dunk contest? Yes. Did you like it, or was it not so good this year? I thought it was bad because it's like kind of getting annoying. Everybody just jumps over Shaq. That's the thing. Somebody jumps over Shaq and dunks, and then another dude puts on a birthday hat, and another dude jumps over Shaq and dunks, and then Shaq does like a funny face. And somebody jumps. I want to go out there and just like have sex with Shaq. I think that would be, and then just take a layup. You know what I mean? And hope to God that I make the layup because it sucks. To be like, "Can we get Shaq back out here, actually?" That might go well in this because people are very open about their like what they like in bed. Now, my friend was going on like a 20-minute rant about how much he loves eating ass. And I was like, "Give me my vape back, okay? This is supposed to be... It's just strawberry guava, not fucking chocolate hazelnut, okay? Let's get it." All right, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great evening.
Pat Bolduc, everybody. Let him hear it. Hell yeah, dude. That does it for the comedy. You guys were a great comedy audience. Are you ready to be a great music audience? Fuck yeah. We got the Lunatics in the house. They're going to get set up, and we'll kick off the show in like... What time is it? That's right. I got to watch. We're going to kick off the show in like 20 minutes probably. So do what you got to do, and yeah, we'll get down. Thanks for coming, guys.